Welcome everyone to Under the Surface. Today we have an exciting guest with us, Angus Glover. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
What did you get up to this morning on this bright sunny day in Melbourne?
Got a mate that plays for Kilsyth, Sean. Went to his little facility and chucked on the Game Ready, which is the best machine ever. Yeah, just did that, slept in a little bit, and now we're here.
So you're playing NBL 1 for Eltham. So am I. So we're pretty much family at this point. Eltham's the best club in the world, just putting that out there. How are you enjoying the NBL 1 season so far? Just kind of running around with the boys and stuff. You guys are killing it.
Really enjoying it. Obviously, it's different to NBL, and it's funny. I feel like I've gone back in time. I've played against guys like Sam Short and Sam Whelan all through my junior career, and to play with them again, and then play with Callum, who I went to the AIS with.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
And then obviously Foxy, who I play against in the NBL. It's a pretty cool group. And
we also can't miss that one dunk that you did on Sykes. Like, what was that, like 3-4 years ago?
It's been brought up a fair bit at training. A lot.
Have you seen that? Yeah, that was unreal. I still remember that because at that time, like, no one was dunking on Sykes. Like, he was just going around yamming on everyone, and you come out of friggin' nowhere. That was a great moment in NBL 1's history. Was it still NBL 1 then?
Yeah, it was NBL 1.
That was their first year, wasn't it? Yeah, good fun. I hope you remind him of that often.
I do.
That's brilliant. Okay, so I want to ask you about, first of all, actually, we should start with this. Give us your blurb. Who is Angus Glover? Who are you?
Oh, God.
What do you get up to on the daily?
Coffee enthusiast. I guess if you strip away the basketball, everyone knows me pretty well from the basketball side of things. But, yeah, love my coffee, love family, love hanging out with friends, playing video games. Just trying to get out about in communities, whether that's obviously at the moment it's in Eltham, and when I'm back in Sydney, or be back in Sydney doing stuff with clinics or whatever it is, just trying to show my face as much as I can. And I just try and, I guess, I know what it was like when I was a kid, always wanting autographs or going to clinics and things like that. So I try and show my face around a lot.
Have you hit up all the brunch spots in Eltham yet? Because like Second Home, Third Chapter, Zenden, they're all great coffee spots, but the brunch is killer. Surely you haven't? Surely, come on now.
No, I haven't. So that's on Josh and our assistant Steve Smith.
Yeah.
They've only taken me to Platform.
Yep. Yeah. Platform 309.
Yeah, they haven't taken me any other spots, so I'm a bit disappointed with that.
Whoa.
You just brought all those out.
Okay.
But,
I'm going to have to get on the boys to actually take you to some good places, because as a coffee enthusiast, we got some good stuff out in Eltham. This is just a big ad for Eltham right now. I'll keep going.
Pretty much.
I'll continue. Anyway, so speaking about what you do off court and stuff like that, the video games, the gaming thing, that's like huge for a lot of NBL players. They always seem to get into the gaming. Why do you think that is?
We're all competitive already, and I feel like there's a bit of competitive side to games like Fortnite, Call of Duty, things like that, 2K, whatever it is. And I guess you get to play with guys that are, you can play with your teammates as well, but I feel like it's a pretty good platform to go play with guys from other clubs as well.
Yeah.
So you're in constant contact that way. And I think it's just the competitive edge that we all have, that we want to try and beat each other as well.
Yeah, I see that. What about, in my household, it was always gaming, like the board games. And actually just the other night, Marina and I played against the two imports for Ringwood, and we all played Monopoly Deal. And
Great game.
Yeah, it got heated, man.
It does get heated.
It got heated. People were yelling. Table almost got flipped a few times. I digress. But my point being is it seems like a lot of the time as athletes, we like those games that put us into different worlds, right? So it's it's not actually what's right in front of us, but you can kind of turn your brain off and do something else, which is kind of nice. I kind of like that aspect of it. And I get that you're able to still keep connected with people. Do you have siblings?
No, I'm an only child, so.
Okay.
Yeah.
So growing up, would you say that basketball is kind of your community family? That's where you got your connection there, as well as your family, obviously.
Yeah, definitely. Obviously, I grew up playing multiple sports, but basketball, I got my best friends are from basketball, and obviously, I guess similar to you, with your Vic Metro stuff as a kid, you kind of bond really closely with your state team. And I think being a part of New South Wales country, we weren't able to do camps. We weren't able to do training sessions every week leading international. So we'd do like a camp per month on a weekend.
Did you guys used to sleep at the stadium?
Yeah. So
do they still do that?
I have no idea. I hope they actually do because it's the experience, I think. But yeah, you'd come in on a Friday night. You do 2 training sessions on a Friday night before you go to sleep. You wake up early. You got like 4 or 5 sessions during that day. And then Sunday. By the end of the weekend, you probably have 4 or 5 players actually left on the court. But just going what we went through, I think that's why I'm pretty close with those guys as a basketball component. But like I keep in contact with all of them now. So I think that's pretty cool. Yeah,
for sure. As a youngin', I mean, you're still young now. Like we're the same age, but I still feel like a baby. Anyway, as a youngin', how would people describe you as a kid? Like first, let's say, how would your parents describe you as a kid? And then how would people at like school describe you?
I think honestly, both would say energetic. Parents, I mean, I never really did homework, I guess you could say. So they were, I guess they were pretty, they weren't that strict, obviously. I think they actually allowed me, I would rather go shoot hoops and they actually kind of allowed me to. So mum had keys to the stadium, so that was what I did.
That is so lucky.
Yeah, I mean, she worked at the stadium, still does now. But just before and after school, before local comp started in the afternoon, I just wanted to go get shots up. And very fortunate I had that. But I guess my friends as well, as kids, would probably say just hardworking. And I'd miss so many parties because I just wanted to sit in the gym more and more. And I mean, I'm sure you're probably the same.
Although I was a bit wild though. But
I think just I just really wanted to reach a level where I could say this is my job one day, and I've reached that. But I guess that's probably what people would describe me as a kid.
Would you say that like your motivation and goals as a young kid was pretty clear and set? Like at what point were you like, hey, this is what I want to do? Because like I have moments where I think back and I'm like, oh, I think I knew by this age. I think I knew by that age. Around what time was it for you where you were like, oh, this is something I want to do?
I think like I said before, I played multiple sports, cricket, AFL, basketball were my main 3. And then I think around 13, 14, I decided to just really focus on basketball. Obviously growing up in Wollongong, having an NBL team there, going to every single game I could, even games in Sydney, because I just wanted to absorb as much as I could as a kid. And obviously very thankful to my parents to travel and take me to those games all the time and stuff like that. But I think that's just that's probably around the age that I really locked in and said this is what I want to do.
That's pretty early actually for like to be able to like have some sort of clear path. Like I look at 13-year-olds now and it's quite rare that people know what they want to do at that age. Did you ever feel like you were able to explore other areas of yourself once you had made that goal, or you kind of made that, you know, like, this is my shtick, this is what I'm going to go with? I
was probably very narrow-minded and just said, this is me. And then obviously we'll touch on probably later, I guess I've probably had to think of a plan B and things like that, and not necessarily in the sporting world, but just that's kind of what I've always wanted to do. And after that, kind of just sat down and tunnel vision, basically.
Yeah, I like that because I think that there's like 2 sides to that, and I've spoken about this before. It's like us being so driven, right? It's what makes us so good. It's because we're able to look at a goal and be so like laser focused, locked onto it, and everything else is just background noise, right? But sometimes that is what hurts us at the same time because we're not able to like, I don't know, see outside of that vision that we have, or see that maybe by doing this over here, that might help us. But I mean, anyway, I digress. And before I move on, I have a memory. So Angus and I did year 11 together at Lake Ginninderra. And when I asked him what he was like at school, we did a math class together. And by the way, I was not a student. I was not a studious student. And I wouldn't say that you were either. No. We spent 90% of that math class like balling up plastic and paper and just shooting it into the bin on the other side of the room with, I think a Chalk was in that class.
Tom Fullerton
was in that class. There was a couple others, but 90% of that class was literally us just like throwing paper into a bin on the other side. It hasn't so far worked out with helping me shoot the ball 100% better, but maybe that's where I went wrong, is shooting with the paper in the math class. Anyway, so yeah, I love that story actually. That's fun because I go back, we got taught so many swear words in Dinka by a Chalk that year.
Yeah. A lot.
I still remember 90% of them.
Oh, so do I.
And every time I go back to Canberra and I see those girls, I'm like, yeah, I'm not going to recite it on here because it all floods back. I actually think I had voice notes, and I'll see if I can find them and I'll send them to you, of you and I actually reciting the swear words so we don't forget them.
Yeah.
In my voice notes in my phone.
Right. Sounds about right.
Yeah. Anyway, I digress. So, going into kind of your career, and you didn't go to college. I want to ask you about that choice first, because you went from your juniors, you went to the Australian Institute of Sport, and then you didn't go to college. Why, for you, did you choose not to make that decision?
Well, go back a bit. I think so some people know, some people don't know. I actually committed to St. Mary's. Yeah, loved it. Loved the whole recruiting process, everything like that. And during year 12, got offered to be a development player with the Hawks under Rob Beveridge at the time, and just being in that pro environment, I was just hungry, and I was doing well and like keeping my own there, and like Bevo would chuck me in games and feel comfortable, and now you see 18-year-olds doing that all the time, but back then it was a bit rarer, I think.
It was absolutely. It was a bit like out of the norm, I would say.
Yeah.
Like you said, it is happening more and more now, but I would say you were one of the first in that area.
Yeah. So I guess just having that first year under my belt, and then, I just decided this is what I want to do. And a lot of people don't know, but they offered me a contract towards the end of that season. And then obviously the Hoop Summit came about and hurt myself over there. And then we had to go back and work out a new deal, basically, because I wasn't going to play the next season. So at the end of the day, I'm pretty happy with the decision to stay here and do all my rehab in Australia. And I've had great physios, great S&C coaches along the way. And I'm super happy that I stayed. Like, at the end of the day, I'm not a studious person, as you said before. Who knows what I got up to in college.
Yeah, actually. Actually, I don't think St. Mary's would have been ready for you, man.
No, so at the end of the day, stayed and happy with the decision.
So, like, you kind of touched on a little bit that injury. You are kind of infamously, I don't know if that's the right word to use, known for the fact that you've had so many and you're still able to perform at such a high level. And it's hard to comprehend, like, the severity and the level of which you have injured yourself and the amount of surgeries. And give us the rundown of the injuries that you've had. And then I want to go into, like, your rehab and your recovery process, because I remember when I was playing in Sydney and Kira and I were talking about your recovery processes and how you rehab. And I've never met someone who's so diligent about their rehab. And so, like, I think I had asked you one time on how you were doing with stuff, and you were explaining like little parts of your rehab process and how much time you actually put into it. And it's actually quite mind-blowing. So start with talking me through your major injuries, and then I want to go into like how you actually, what type of mindset you encompass to kind of move past those.
Yeah. I think, you would have been at AIS the first knee I did. So we're actually down here to watch the Boomers and Opals play. We went on a little road trip, and did my first knee down here in 2016, I believe it was, early 2016 or maybe even late 2015. And then, from there, just...
was that an ACL?
That was ACL. That was my right ACL.
And that first one, was that like earth shattering? Like, or were you kind of like, oh, look, here's how I move forward?
The funny thing about it is, like, I've never had a serious injury, and probably no one at that age probably really has.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think like I remember hearing the news, finding out like you guys were in the weight room. We were about to go in the weight room, and I'm in crutches walking. And I just heard the news, and I've got a smile on my face. Not like because I'm trying to hide stuff. I was probably too young to understand what really was lying ahead of me.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I'm like, this is a blessing in disguise type thing. I can use it to improve my body in other ways, or improve my game in other ways, and things like that. And I guess that's just what I did. But also, I didn't know what was happening with the rehab at all. So I was going in with blind vision, really, not knowing what was going on, and panicking every time there was I was a little bit sore during the rehab process or whatever it was. So that one took me 9 months to come back from. And then, as we just touched on the second one, at the Nike Hoop Summit.
How much longer after that? Was that 2 years?
It was about, so when I came back though, I came back in September.
The following year.
And then in 2017, I retore it. Did the other knee.
It was the other one.
Okay. So that's the left one I'd like to call as the bad.
The knee. Bad one. The bad knee.
I guess. So we're at the Hoop Summit in front of multiple NBA scouts, GMs. That the Hoop Summit class had RJ Barrett, Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, Michael Porter Jr., all these guys. Like, it was a good class. And about 2 days in, I was doing really, really well. All the feedback I had was
positive,
really positive. Set me up for a good back end of the week. And I remember Olgun Ulick was there and filmed the actual play, and you can actually hear the ACL crack.
Yeah.
And he's on the baseline. I'm at the top of the 3-point line, so you can hear it that far away. So that was, I kind of knew straight away that was ACL, and to be honest, that one was probably the hardest one. So Kira was on the other side of the world, so it was in Portland. Kira was on the other side of the world. I think at the time training it was probably like 2-3 a.m. in the morning. Australian time or late evening or whatever it was. And then my dad and my under-16s coach, John Hargraves, were flying over to watch the game, and they were actually in the air as it happened.
So you weren't able to contact anybody?
I couldn't contact anyone, mum, no one. So,
So those hours after, because like you say that you knew straight away, those hours after, like, and you've done it, you're not able to talk to your support system. What was that like?
I tried to... that was a bit of a weird one. So that was the morning session. We had an afternoon session. Finally was able to tell everyone what was going on. And I remember Kira bawling her eyes out. But it was okay for her, I think, in terms of she had a really good group of girls at the AIS with us. So they kind of were around her whilst I was over there. And mum... I remember Rob Beveridge and my nan and pop and my auntie went over to see mum, see how she was doing. And it was, I think, one of the days it was 8 a.m. and she's drinking alcohol. She was like a wreck because it's a baby boy, I guess you could say.
And you're her only kid.
So, that was pretty hard. And then, my dad and John over there, and that was as equally as hard to tell them, but...
Do you think it was harder having them there to actually look at them in the face and tell them?
Yeah, for sure.
Because then you almost have to accept it,
The funny thing is, I said sorry because they've spent all this money to come over.
Oh my God.
And they're saying, don't be an idiot about it. But
you're also what? You would be 17?
I was 17 at the time, 17 or 18. I can't exactly remember. And then to confirm, because in the States you have to go to a doctor to confirm that's an ACL. So did the MRI the night before. Went to team training in the morning and I said, tape me up. So without even knowing exactly what it is, I've said, tape me up. I'm trying to train. 5 minutes of just a simple little shooting drill. I've just collapsed to the floor because I've got no stability in the knee whatsoever. So I was like, oh yeah, I know what this is. And then, I mean, credit to Nike and Curtis Evans and everyone like that. They treated me kind of like a king over there after that because they just... whatever you want, like food wise,
Yeah.
whatever. They're just looking after you. It was unbelievable. And
Did you feel a sense of like pressure to still go out there and train, even though you know you've just done your knee?
kinda,
So in your head, right, you said before, like you knew that you've done your knee,
yeah.
but there's still that part of that competitive part of you is like, nah, I can still do it. Like,
Yeah.
take me out, I can still go. Do you reckon that's because you hadn't accepted that it was going to put you out for another 9 months yet? Or
Yeah. Well, like you hear stories too of people playing without ACLs,
This is true.
especially in like rugby league.
Yeah.
I know Peter Wallace is pretty famous for it, but like I sit there and go, like anyone that's done an ACL knows the pain
Yeah.
is excruciating when you do it, and then you actually feel not too bad probably 10 minutes later.
Yeah.
It's just more like overnight it will stiffen up, and
Yeah.
because of the swelling goes into it and everything like that. But honestly, my knee wasn't that bad the next morning in terms of swelling or stiffness or whatever it was. So yeah, I just tried. And
So
couldn't
how
do
much
it.
longer were you over in the States before you came back? Was that like another week or something?
I think it was another 3 or 4 days. So originally I wanted to leave straight away.
Yeah.
And then I was like, no, I want to be a good teammate. And that might show something to the people that are here watching all these kids in the game. It might show that I'm a good teammate or whatever it is. But I mean, anyone that knows me, I would have stayed probably regardless, even though in the heat of the moment I wanted to leave. So I ended up staying, and best decision I ever made. Just got to bond really well with Shay and RJ Barrett, so that was pretty cool. And RJ looked after me really well, and my roommate Felipe from Brazil basically asked if I needed anything, let me know. Like it was, I got treated really well by all the guys, and I'm pretty happy that I stayed. And then came back, and Nike hooked up first class because I couldn't bend my leg because it started to stiffen up afterwards. So that was
the first class was great.
So that was the good part. But and then this part's probably like I remember just laughing at it because I'm on crutches, so I couldn't grab them. So when you go to that hoop summit, you get like multiple bags of just Nike gear, like it's insane gear. I've had to get someone to wheel out the bags because Mum's on the outside of the customs area. She can't obviously come in, and she's trying to come in like that way because she's just bawling her eyes out seeing me on crutches. And I'm sitting there like laughing because I'm like, Mum, you can't come this way. Like, settle down. I can crutch over there. It's okay.
The security are going to come grab you. Mum. Like, relax.
So that was, a bit of a funny moment in a dark time. But
silver lining.
Yeah.
Do you ever feel like, especially again, at that moment, you're 17, your dad was able to go over there, your mum's at home, but like when you get home, was there ever a feeling of like, oh, I've let the people around me down? Like, did you get that weight of like, oh, I've let, like, I mean, you mentioned you said sorry, but like that like instinct to be like, oh, I'm letting people down. Did that continue as you were home for a little bit, or did you just kind of get straight into rehab?
Yeah, kind of got straight in the rehab really. Like it was like I landed in Sydney, and then the next morning I was back in Canberra. And then the day after that, I was straight in the surgery. But that's how it panned out for that second one. And then 7 months in, a lot of people probably don't realize, but 7 months in, I re-tore it slipping on water out of all things.
I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah, so that was not ideal. The ACL, we found out, we went to a new surgeon in Sydney, Leo Pincheski, renowned ACL specialist.
7 months in, you're kind of getting close to starting to do everything again, right?
Yeah. So, found out that the ACL wasn't exactly in the right spot. And we all know surgeons really like their own work and don't like other people's work. It's like an artist almost, right? So saw the new surgeon. That was a bit of a complicated one. That was a 2-stage. So what that is they take the old screws out, the torn ACL out, put artificial bone in for 6 months, let that heal. You can go in at the same time, but it's very, like, it can be unsuccessful.
Invasive.
Yeah. So let that heal for 6 months so it becomes solid like the bone, and then, then go back in. And because I've used 2 hamstrings, we were a bit like, what's the decision of where do we go with this one?
Yeah.
Originally, we're going to use a cadaver, so a deceased person's hamstring. And so get the x-rays done 6 months later, see Leo again, and yeah, he just looks straight at Dad and grabs his hamstring and goes, "We can use that one."
Did you actually?
Yeah, we used Dad's hamstring. So Dad's got this little joke, like every 10 points I score, he's got half of it. Like basically he takes half my stats or whatever it is. So he's claiming he's got one full NBL championship now because I've got two. So,
I'd claim it. Absolutely.
Yeah, of course he's claiming it. So, so that was what we decided.
So at that point, from when you'd done your second, how long until you were able to play again? Like after all of those surgeries?
Would have been close to 2 years. So 7 months in and another 6 months and then it was 12-month rehab. So basically, it was 2 months. 2 years, sorry. So
during that time, so that's from like 17 to 19, right? Are you still at the Australian Institute of Sport or were you back in Illawarra?
I remember, so the NBL season finished and I was doing the 6 months before you go to college or pros at the AIS. Still in my 6 months came. So I did the first month there roughly, which so obviously just it's basically getting the swelling down and movement back anyway. So I remember sitting down with Capes and so Adam Capehorn, he was the coach at the time and he was trying to tell me to go back to Illawarra and do the rehab at Baymed. And because I was so set and I wanted to do the first one. I did the first one there. I want to do the second one there too. But so I did the second one and the third one with Baymed in Wollongong. Honestly, pretty happy. Like I was still in that pro environment and like Capes made the right call for me to go do that. And
do you think that like being able to be in that pro environment still while you're rehabbing helped you like stay focused with what you wanted? Like having that, like you're surrounded by the people that you want to be. You're surrounded by the thing that you want to do every day. Do you think that played a massive role in your ability to kind of keep pushing? Because lots of people stop after their first one, let alone their second with complications. How did you like, you know, I mean, the way that it kind of rolls off your tongue, it sounds so naturally like, yeah, I just did my rehab. How did you stay so focused to do that? Because that's an everyday thing, right? Like, it's not just like, oh, you go to rehab twice a week. No. It's every day, right?
Yeah, I guess like, I mean, someone that's probably done an ACL, that's someone that doesn't play pro sport or even low comp playing once a week, whatever it is. For an ACL, you're only going in probably to see a physio once a week and then you do your own stuff outside of that. And a lot of times it's only 3 gym sessions a week. It's not like us where like I'm doing something every day. I'm seeing physio every day. I know I've got the luxury to see a physio every day, but like they were like book in as much as you want or as little as you want, like use it to your advantage. And like I remember until I was able to do full body weights, I was doing 3 lower body sessions a week, 5 upper body sessions a week, and 3 cardio sessions on top of like shooting. Like I thought that was the best time for me to try and get my upper body strength up. And like I used different ways to try and help myself get through those times. And on top of that, being in that pro environment, I was lucky to have guys like Kevin Lish, Kirk Penny, Tim Conrad, AJ Ogilvy, like all these guys that I was able to, like they took me out for coffee during my time in Illawarra and things like that and really take my mind off my knee. And but they'd always check in and see how I'm doing. But the conversation was maybe asking me about how I was, but then trying to ask about completely different things and seeing what's going on in the NBA or something else. Like it was really nice. And they didn't have to do that. They just did it out of their own way to really help me. And my mental state, like a lot of people probably struggle to sit out of a game for 2 years. And don't get me wrong, I did struggle, but it was definitely made a lot easier through people like that. And same with Dan Greeter and Emmett Nah. Like I basically lived at theirs. Their rookie year. They'd come over for food and then I'd go back over, and that was when Fortnite was booming. So we'd all just want a game all night.
So like I think about like, I mean, for myself, like basketball is a huge part of who I am. Same for you. Like it's a huge part of your identity. How did you keep that part of yourself intact while you're not able to be on the court? Like how did you, for me, actually probably I could explain that better. For me, I feel like I need to do something every day that pushes my basketball career forward, whether that be like making sure I'm doing the right stuff in the gym, or it might be, well, like you said, cardio, gym, blah, blah, blah. how did you feel like you were still moving towards your goal when you have so many limitations on what you can and can't do?
Yeah. I mean, for the first 2 months, you probably go insane. I went insane.
Yeah.
The first 2 months, you don't touch a ball. You don't do anything other than like, you can't even lift properly. Like upper body you can, but like lower body, you just don't feel whole.
Yeah.
Like it's just a simple like leg raise, and that's hard to do.
Yeah.
When you just had surgery and trying to, like your leg like goes to a Mr. Burns leg really. Like it's crazy how much you lose when you have surgery. But yeah, I think just like sitting in a chair after 2 months, you still can't run, but you're just sitting under a hoop, and you just, whilst the team's training, you're just sitting there just trying to practice your form and things like that. And like I always had a ball in my hand at home. Whether I went outside and just sat outside, I had to have a ball in my hand because I missed it so much, and because I couldn't actually do anything. Like I still felt like, not necessarily I was getting better, but I felt like I wasn't really losing anything because I've got this ball in my hand. And like, I mean, you know what it's like. If you don't touch a ball in a week, we feel like absolute spuds on the court.
Yeah, a week, 2 days for me.
Yeah, like, that's just how it is. So, and then once you get the all clear to start doing more, it's, green light. And probably had to be held back a little bit on the third one.
Yeah.
Like all I wanted to do was shoot. And I remember Dan Lawson, he was doing my rehab at Baymed and on the third one, and all I wanted to do was just shoot the ball on this one day, and I couldn't hack it. I was just sick and tired of doing running drills after running drills. Yeah. I was basically 12 months, I was basically about to return to play. And all he wanted to do was just make me run, and then he was trying to bully me in the post, and he's got a football background. Yeah. So he's just, wanting to bully me in the post, and like, I mean, it was great for my knees and everything like that, and I needed it, but it was one day I just couldn't hack it because I was sick and tired of 2 years of just not being able to shoot a damn ball. So, that was probably how I've tried to keep sane a bit and try to think that I'm still getting better without really necessarily getting better.
I guess that ties into like the question I want to ask you about self-belief, right? Because like during that time, and like I know for me, sometimes I get caught up into like listening to like media and the things that people write online and that type of stuff. Did you ever feel like there was a lot of outside noise and like people not believing in you to get back and to like still be successful when you were back? Like what was that experience like for you if you did experience it?
Yeah, like the amount of people that told me to give it up or like just hurl abuse saying I'm washed up and things like that. And obviously everyone's got their small little circle of people they trust, and in terms of that trust with everything that they say to them. And for me, it was really small, and I just had to listen to those people as much as I needed to. And on top of that, like I had a team around me that like they would clap seeing me run at training.
I love that.
For like the first time, like things like that, like knowing I haven't run for something crazy in an amount of days, and they just stop training just to see me run up and down a court at 20%. Like I feel horrible because I'm running only at 20%. Yeah. But they're sitting there saying how good it is. But like I guess it's pretty. It's hard to explain that one probably. Without probably going into. I can speak for that for 4 or 5 hours. Like it's really hard to go into, and I guess people that don't understand what we go through as athletes already, but then to add that injury into it, it makes it pretty hard to kind of speak about it. And like, I still get emotional talking about certain things with my knees and stuff, and that's probably one point because we all know I'm fiery on the court. But then, I guess off the court, like I'm probably more on the softer side. So I guess. I just try and block it out, and if people want to say what they want now, I don't. Like I try and stay off social media as much as I can now. Like, it's not worth it. And at the end of the day, I used to also like. I remember my rookie year, I used to always like look at what people say about you. And who's coming in. And I'm just like, now you just move on, and like if they say it, like it's almost like I laugh at it if I ever did read it, but I just don't care. Like water for ducks back for me, and there's people still out there right now, even after not doing an ACL for now for how many years and winning the last 2 seasons with the Kings, and people are still saying I shouldn't be playing, and I'm going, okay. Like,
yeah. All right.
Yeah.
If that's what you think,
Yeah.
then well done for you.
Yeah. But
So-
now I've got a bit of,
Yeah.
I can actually say something back.
Yeah, you're like, I got 2 rings, my
Yeah.
guy. Yeah. So you're are you 25 yet?
25 September.
Okay, so when in September? Are you a Virgo?
Yeah.
Oh.
8.
Okay, yeah, I'm the
I was
first.
going to say you are September too.
Yeah. Sorry, I got distracted. You'll be 25 soon, and you've had how many major surgeries and injured yourself how many times?
So I've had 4 major surgeries, 3 ACLs. We thought, so this feels like an eternity ago, but everyone remembers the COVID hub days.
Yeah.
We were in Cairns and playing the second game against Cairns up there as well. And here I popped my knee again, and like 40, I looked straight at 40 and I've just hopped straight off, go in the change room, and basically they do the test and I was like, all right, that's torn. And I was kind of okay.
Yeah.
But then half time came and the boys did their talk in a different room.
Yeah.
And then they have to go past me to get back out on the court.
Yeah.
40 walks out. He's like in tears because he kind of knows what's already happened. And then seeing DJ and Diddy, like they just embraced me. And then Diddy's like crying in my ear. And then I start bawling my eyes out because I'm like, this affects other people other than me.
Yeah.
And then I was like, Diddy, like, stop crying, man. You got to play a game. Like, I'm bawling my eyes out here as well.
Yeah.
And then DJ starts crying on my other shoulder.
Yeah.
And 40's just standing in the back there, like, just trying to hold it all in. And then, and then to walk out, because that was the Bunnings Arena then.
Yeah. We played in there in our hub year as well, yeah.
So that's the game, the ball went out and I was like, side, let's go. Simon Hall, our physio.
Yeah.
He was there with us. I wanted to go back out and watch the boys. Cause I was like, in the changes, there was no TVs. There was no nothing. I was like, nah, I need to go out. Went out, and every Cairns player came up that was on the court and checked if I was okay.
Yeah.
So that was really nice. And
it's bigger than basketball at that point, right? Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. And then, I guess the crazy thing is then we fly to Brisbane, so I'm in a brace, all this and all that, and get an MRI, and then that night get the MRI result back. So I'm kind of mucking around on crutches because I'm like, career's like, I genuinely thought career was done. Yeah. And so I'm mucking around going for a walk on crutches, doing stupid stunts on crutches, which is, I don't advise. And then, got a phone call about 10 p.m. from Simon, say come to the team room, and sat me down and said it's a partial tear, but if you look at the MRI, there's actually, it doesn't even look like a partial tear. So
how did that feel in that moment?
I was like, so what does that mean? Yeah. But I had a fracture on the side of my leg, which was actually what caused me to miss the rest of the season, really. Yeah. So sat in a brace for 2 weeks at 30 degrees, I think it was. Jesus. And what that does is, so basically we use these like percentages, so 25%, say that was missing. Yeah. So over that 2 weeks, scar tissue will reattach that. Okay.
But so you didn't need to have another surgery?
No. So,
it was just rehab?
Yeah. But then you look at the MRI, like I said, it doesn't even look like there's anything wrong with the ACL at all. Yeah. So if there was anything, it was minor. Yeah. But the fracture hurt a lot.
So was that the popping noise that you heard?
Probably. Yeah. But who knows? I'm not a doctor or a physio, so I wouldn't know. But I think in that moment, just I was like, so what does this mean? And get back, and like I said, sit in that for 2 weeks, and during that 2 weeks we got surgical opinions and things like that, and a lot of the surgeons were saying you're fine, like you'll be okay. Did all that, and so played one-on-one with Xavier Cooks towards the end of the season, which I did not like.
I don't believe anyone would enjoy playing one-on-one against that man.
And you think you beat him, and because he's so long, he just blocks you out of nowhere. I'm like, it's annoying as hell. But I mean, super fun. Like, Obviously, that was the year he did his Liz Frank in his foot. And
Yeah, I remember
so
that.
we were basically carpooling to Sydney every day for rehab whilst the guys were in the Melbourne hub.
Yeah.
So that was nice to obviously have someone like him around during that one.
There's something that I want to highlight real quick before you move on is like when you talk about like injuring yourself, the two things that you talk about the most is like the people around you that have like lifted you up, right? And so I have a mentor in my life who calls it like the blossomers around you, the people that help you kind of like excel and exceed. And then the other thing that you talk about is like how you like your level of empathy means that you are feeling bad for other people during your injury. Now, I think that that's an incredible thing that you have the ability to look outside of yourself when something's happening to you. At what point in your life were you able to do that? Like, do you remember, or have you just always been like that?
I've no idea. I think I just don't want to let people down.
Yeah.
Like, you've taken a punt on me, so I want to repay the faith and things like that. And like, I still remember, like, after our first championship with Sydney, I remember saying to Smithy, like, you were right, because so when I hurt myself in that Cairns game, he called me and I'm sitting there saying, I'm retiring, I'm done, all this and all that. And he's sitting there saying, no, you're not. We'll get you back. We'll be good. We'll win a championship with you in the Kings. Turns out a year later we do it.
Yeah.
Just unbelievable. Like the support from everyone at the Kings, ownership, straight down to the playing staff, to like everyone involved in the Kings was unbelievable with helping me get back to where I am.
When he said to you, like, no, you're not retiring, you're going to get through this, we're going to come back and win a championship, at the time in your head, you're thinking, shut up, no, I'm done. Or like at what point do you then start to believe that other people believe in you? Do you know what I'm saying?
Like for the next 10 minutes I was on the phone to him, I'm like, in my head, I was like, whatever you're saying right now is not going to change my mind. Like, I'm retiring. Like, I'm done. I was meant to retire on the third ACL when I came back. The surgeon told me to, and I didn't. Like, this one, I'm done.
Yeah.
And he's like, no, mate, we're doing it.
Yeah.
And obviously him being a gong boy as well.
Yeah.
Embracing after the first championship, and all I remember saying to him was thank you. I can't remember what else I said to him. Probably said multiple other things, but first thing I said was thank you, because like obviously they brought me up the road to Sydney, took a punt on me, and stayed with me through, even though it wasn't an ACL tear, through something that kept me out that whole season. And for them to show the faith and for me to repay it though. So pretty cool.
Those levels of so your last championship, your last two, right? So I imagine those, I've never won one, but I imagine them to be super euphoric, right? So that's like literally what you work for all year. You're with a group of people, you're in the trenches. How do those moments feel for you after everything that you've been through? Do you take moments where it still happens to me now, and I haven't won a championship, where I look back and I'm like, holy shit, like little me would be so happy with myself right now. Like, do you take the time after big euphoric moments like that to like reflect and be like, holy crap, look at what I've gone through and look at where I am now? Yeah.
I remember after the first one, I had to obviously celebrate in the change room and all that. And my best mate since I was, I think, in year 3 of school, FaceTimed him after the game, and like we just sat there, and he was just basically in tears for me because he knew what I went through, and then I started getting emotional, and that's where it kind of sunk in for me that wow, I've gone through this and this to get to here. And it's not, I'm not, nothing wrong with being not playing, but I actually made an impact, and I felt like that was pretty cool from where I've been. And and then to back it up and do it again, like to win one's hard enough, and then to win back-to-backs even harder with a target on your back. To go up another level, I think, compared to what I was last year, and be what I've been through is pretty cool. And don't get me wrong, I definitely wouldn't have, like, if 19-year-old me was sitting here right now saying, you'd be having 2 championships by the age of 24. I'd be like, yeah,
you're joking.
You're joking type thing. No way. But yeah, here I am. And yeah, obviously super grateful. But at the same time, I think it's finally sunk in.
Yeah.
What I've done.
And what you're still yet to do too, right? Like your ceiling is so high. And like, you know, I love that, like, even when you had moments where you're doubting yourself, you had people around you that were like, no, we're not going to let you doubt yourself, right? So the thing that I want to ask you about now is, so being a male athlete, right? It's not super common to talk about like when you get emotional, or B, when you go through hard times. How were you able to like speak to other people about the stuff that you were going through? And how would you encourage like actually younger athletes coming up through now that like say they've just hurt themselves, or say they're just not feeling right? Like, what are your words of wisdom, I guess, in that space to be able to like actually open up and be vulnerable with people and seeing that as a strength instead of a weakness?
Like gain as much like knowledge as you can, but obviously use your network as a platform for that. So for me, mum, dad, for me, it's Toby and Dave at the Kings on the medical side, and Kira as well. I try and be open and honest with them as much as I can. Even during the seasons, I've been healthy. Everyone carries needles, everything. Like, you still doubt yourself and things like that. And I just sit there and go, all right, like, tell me, like, what's the next step for me to feel better or
continue to grow.
Or continue to grow, to open my mind up to a different way. And a lot of people don't actually know, but during probably about 2/3 into the season, the first championship year, I got a severe bone bruise in my knee, and popping painkillers like no tomorrow to play the rest of the season out. And that whole off season trying to get right, hence why I missed the Blitz and 2 or 3 games at the start of the season this year. Just couldn't get right the whole time. And like, I was still living in Sydney, but I was basically living in my mum and dad's because I was just so, I was depressed basically. And then like I thought psychologist was like something that I didn't really want to do. And I thought it was something that wasn't for me or anything like that. And Kira was peppering it. And then I remember lifting one time with Toby during the off season, and I said, Kira thinks I should do this. And I said basically to him, I was like, I think it's BS. Like, I don't want to do that. Yeah. And then they might have connected, I don't know. But Toby then was a couple of days later very like, I want you to do this. Like, this is something you need to do. And I think that was the best thing I ever could have done. I could just lay everything. I could strip back the barriers, everything. Like, and even to Kira, mum, dad, all these people that I was so open and honest to, I still held up barriers. Yeah.
Because you're worried about protecting them at the same time, right?
Yeah, for sure. And especially mum and dad, because they've been through the whole thing. And so has Kira, but they've been through the whole thing, and being their only child, that all their emphasis is just on me. So it's really hard, I think, for them to hear everything that if I'm sore or whatever. Like,
if you're going through something, when you talk to them about it, you're not being fully open. But with a psychologist, you're able to like actually be super vulnerable, right?
Yeah. And like, just like, I think I did 4 1-hour sessions, and like, I remember the first one I was obviously very depressed at the start of it, and at the end of it, I was so happy because I just got everything off my chest.
You feel lighter.
Yeah. And I think the whiteboard was probably 1 meter by 1 meter, but it was covered in pen. Yeah. Like, there was no room left to write on it, whatever it was. Like, it was just such a productive session. Week 2, go back to being not feeling great. Yeah. That session, I got better, but I wasn't on cloud 9 like I was at the end of the first week. And then week 3 and 4, I was in a better state, both of them, at the start and at the end of each of those sessions. And honestly, that was all I needed, just to be super vulnerable. And I'm not saying psychologist is the answer for everyone, but be super vulnerable if you want to be. Like,
it's a resource.
allow yourself to be vulnerable, because people are there to help you. And don't get me wrong, like, my support network, I wanted help from them, but they probably couldn't also offer what a psychologist could offer. Like,
it's medical stuff.
Yeah. Like, so like be open and honest. Doesn't matter if you're, no matter who you are, like be vulnerable, take everything in. Sometimes you don't want to hear stuff that people might tell you, but at the end of the day, they're trying to help you.
Yeah.
It can be a daunting task to do as well, but
because it's a stigma, right?
Yeah, but it feels so good having weight lifting off your shoulders, even if you're telling someone, like telling anyone, like it's so good. Yeah.
Your initial reaction to be like, nah, don't need it. Well, that's like 90% of the male athletes in this arena, just because there's this stigma that like, that's, I don't know, like it's, you know, that won't work for me, or maybe people see it as a weakness, or actually still in the female athlete world, we're getting better, but we're working on it, to see that as like, oh, look, I have a sore leg, I'm going to go see the physio, or it should be the same, like, oh, I'm just not feeling right, I need to go see a psych. It should have the same connotation in my head, and I think the resources are getting better now with like NBL, WNBL, like the facilities and the resources are there to be able to give that to us. But I guess like as a stigma for you being like a high-performing, successful male athlete, and knowing that you're going to see a psych, is that something that you ever battled within yourself, to be like, oh, look, like, oh, I don't really want to talk about this? Or were you pretty open about going to see a psych?
I was not open at all. Like, even during my previous injuries, or just in general, Kira kind of tried to get me down that path, and I was like, no, like, not happening. Under any circumstances, not happening.
Yeah.
And then, for some reason why this one, just Toby kind of forced me to go.
Yeah.
Force is the wrong word, but he set up an appointment.
Steered you in the right direction.
Yeah.
That's what happened with me. I had someone
at the end of the day, I'm so thankful for Kira pushing it for so long. But then, obviously, I said what I said to Toby, and Toby didn't just sit on it. He reacted to it and was like, all right, we're doing this. Mm-hmm. And that's anyone that plays for the Kings organization understands how well we get like, it's unbelievable. Everyone involved just treats you really, really well, and basketball is the product that everyone sees, but they are there to help us be better people. And I think anyone that's been a part of that organization and has left will say, I've become a better person for it, whether that's on the men's side or the women's side.
No, I agree with that. That's definitely that. I would say that's definitely a consensus. But so these next steps for you, right? Like I want to start as a person, right? We'll leave basketball for a second. In what areas are you looking to grow your human? I mean, for when I ask some people out there, say they're talking about like business ventures or just more time with family, or putting energy into other topics. My biggest thing at the moment is being okay with not being in control of things, because I like to have everything set in the right way. What is something that you're looking to kind of grow within yourself outside of sport at the moment?
I think, so for me, a big thing is, I guess, my relationship with Kira, because this is the first time I've been to Melbourne, basically, to play NBL 1 in the off season, because the last 2 years COVID's come in the way, and being a physio student, there's a lot goes on in your mind.
She works so hard.
And then on top of that, she's trying to be an elite athlete, and like everyone obviously does their own stuff as well, but just seeing her obviously go to uni 8 till 5 basically for placement or whatever it is. And normally she's used to seeing me at home afterwards, and she kind of just de-stress. But not having me around, I think the last couple of years with COVID and stuff has, I've been a bit hard. So, I just thought, regardless if I played or not this year, I wanted to come to Melbourne and be a part with her and try and help her as much as I can in her last year of her uni.
She's in her last year.
So she'll basically finish this year. She'll have maybe one more block next year, but like she'll be done really, really quick, hopefully.
That's crazy.
But so that's kind of where my mindset is at the moment. Just really want to keep building on our relationship, which, I mean, anyone that's in a relationship wants to do that anyway, but I think just being there for her, and I've got the luxury of having Em, who is the important knocks, and I'm living with Alicia as well. Alicia Froling. So like it's nice to have those guys around as well to help her. But other than that, just like you said, I'm a big family man, so I FaceTime mum pretty much every day.
Same.
Bit of a mama's boy, I guess you could say. So I guess just family's my priority at the moment, really.
I think that I love hearing you talk about like the people around you, because it's just so glaring to me like how empathetic you are. Like I hope when you listen to this back, you're like, oh, I spend a lot of that time talking about like how important everyone else is to me. And even in the way you talk about how you go about your business, there's a big component of it that's, it's for you, but it's also for the people around you. Like being able to kind of exist in a space where everything's always about more than you is just like, I would say as an athlete, it's one of the biggest things that can propel you forwards, because, it's not just you, you're able to do stuff for, the greater good. And that's not just your family, but when it comes to a team environment, that's for your team. I mean, you spoke about sitting on the sideline at the Hoop Summit. You didn't need to do that. You could have just gone home. But being able to go outside of yourself and be like, all right, well, I can be there for the team and for the people around me in other ways. Like that's huge. Like, and it's exciting. And it also means that things feel less overwhelming because you're able to share the load in your brain, like that's the way I see it anyway. So moving forward in basketball, what are your goals over the next like couple years? And do you have are you a planner? Like, do you plan stuff?
I wouldn't say planning, but like I do have goals, but I don't necessarily plan my way to get there. Or I don't plan on being here in 5 years. I think everyone's path is different, which is pretty obvious, I guess. But I think for me, a big goal, being on the NBA radar when I was at that Hoop Summit, I want to try and get back to a summer league, go over there and experience that. And I got to experience the Boomers jersey just before we went to the lockdown in 2020. But I want to put that jersey back on. Anyone that gets to put on the green and gold as a Boomers or an Opal is like it means so much to them.
It really does.
Yeah, like it will always be something that will stick real close to me is putting on that jersey. And obviously, any time you step on a court, you want to win. So trying to go for a three-peat right now.
Yeah, do the three-peat.
But I think as well, my time in Eltham, I'm really trying to help the young guys as well. Like we have a lot of young guys on our bench. So whether they want to come lift with me or want to get shots up with me or like sit me down for 20, 30 minutes after a session, before a session and say why do I do X, Y, Z or whatever it is. Like one of our young guys right now sat me down and he's got knee pain and like basically I sat down with him and he asked all these questions why I do all these band work before training, and I'm like, that's prehab. That's how you try and stay nice and strong and how you stay injury free and things like that. And he's going to give it a go and like things. I just really want to help all these people try and get to where they want to get to in sport and life.
I mean, you have like a well of knowledge in that space just from lived experience in like literal lived experience. Like you have that, and using you as a resource, I think, especially in like the NBL 1 space, but in the NBL space as well, like there's so many ways that you can give back. And it's like, it's a really unselfish way to live. And that's kind of something that you embody, which is super cool. And I guess my last couple of questions are around like the way that you interact with young kids, right? So when people say or call you a role model, how does that make you feel?
I still don't look at myself as like a role model, but I guess like everyone is that plays in this, plays professional sport. And I think I touched on it earlier at the start of the podcast was I remember sitting there doing camps and going to every game wanting to get my forehead and arm signed because I didn't have anything to get signed.
Yeah.
Like just I wanted to be that kid that was so excited just to see a player.
Yeah.
So I know what it's like for these kids that see me and other guys like this. So I'm like I've changed my game day routines a fair bit over the years. Like I'm really relaxed now basically until we run out for our warm up. So when we go out there and shoot earlier, I'll normally go out earlier so I can let my hair down and sign some autographs and things like that, and really spend time with the kids before I have to really lock in a bit more.
Yeah.
And, like at the end of the day, I remember trying to get autographs and all, so I want to try and do it. And then, just interacting with the kids at like clinics and things like that, and trying to have fun with them. And at the end of the day, we're doing the clinics, so we might be doing ball handling or shooting a drill, but also have fun with them.
Yeah.
Whilst you're doing the drill, like muck around with them, have a joke.
Yeah.
Talk a bit of rubbish.
Yeah.
Ask them who their NBA favorite player is or whatever it is. Like just have a conversation with them. I think that's the big thing. And some kids definitely go, oh, like this is cool, and go pretty quiet. But kids these days are pretty vocal.
Yeah,
like,
they are.
they love having a chat with you.
They get more confident every year. I swear they do. So, and then kind of moving on from there, having a conversation with your younger self, what would you, if you were able to like sit down with 5-year-old you, what would you say to yourself?
This ain't even basketball related or anything like that, but don't shave your head.
Yeah.
I used to shave my head all the time. So that's definitely one of them.
Number one, don't shave your head.
In all seriousness.
Can we get a photo of that? Can you please send us a photo?
Most definitely not. You'll probably go talk to my mum or something.
I'm going to get a photo. I'm going to get a photo of Kira. Actually, write that down. We're getting a photo. Yeah.
I think, I guess, embrace everything that comes your way. I feel like, I guess I don't want to be known as someone that's done the ACLs, but going back to try and talk to my 5-year-old self is embrace it. I probably didn't embrace the journey as well, even though I probably talked about it all pretty well, like I have, but I don't think I have embraced it to how I could have. Like, I guess I never really enjoy yourself a bit more. Like, stop taking things so serious.
Yeah.
I'd take, I remember say it's an 8-rep exercise and my body would give out after 6 and I'd have to re-rack it. Like, I'd get so mad at myself.
Yeah.
Stop. That's just an example, but stop caring not caring, but stop trying to put everything into just one thing and actually enjoy everything around you. I think as a kid, I did probably, not necessarily as a kid, but I didn't probably enjoy things around me as much. Now I'm starting to do that with coffee and going out for walks and things like that. And where I used to probably not do that at all.
See everything else. There's always more.
And you were at the AIS too. Everything's so basketball focused. And I never did schoolwork, especially because my parents weren't there. But I was I'm doing that 24/7. Whereas I probably missed out a bit on interactions. I've made some great bonds at AIS, but you don't
get to explore other parts of yourself.
I wish I got to do that a bit more. For sure.
I like that. Because especially it doesn't mean that you'll be any less successful if you put into other parts of yourself, right? For me, I had to take a year off to figure out what that was. But to be able to implement that into your everyday life, just enjoy the process, enjoy everything that's happening around you. There's always more than just the basketball, but people don't realize that the basketball becomes more enjoyable the more you put into the outside parts of your life. How much more enjoyable is basketball when you're putting time? For me, it's my creative outlets and spending time with my family. For you, it's the gaming and spending time with Kira, your family, coffee, all that stuff. But it actually makes you enjoy the basketball and the sport more, right? It enriches your experience holistically and it makes all of that stuff better. On that note, I'm going to end with the question that I usually end all my podcasts with. So how do you think people see you versus who you actually are? And if there is no separation, no difference in that, that's the goal, right? People see you and they're like, oh, this is Angus. He's, we know who he is, blah, blah, blah. And you spoke on vulnerability and all that stuff. But how do you think you're viewed? And how do you think that relates to who you actually are?
Anyone that knows me on the court thinks I'm an absolute dick.
Yeah, same. So
I guess but then you'd strip back that and I try and be as courteous as I can and things like that. And I think a big thing for me is trying it's kind of been the theme of the podcast, trying to help other people. I think people these days definitely would see me as someone that tries to help others. Definitely a lot more when I compared to what I was as a kid, and still super hardworking, and like I think that's how I would see myself too. Is like all I want to do is help people. I still put in the work, and right now I'm working on relationships, whether that's with my teammates or all these young guys, or Kira or my parents, whatever it is. And then I think that's what a lot of people would probably say about me, to be honest. But like I said, people that only see me that might be a Cairns fan, or I don't know, just a fan that doesn't know me from a bar. So obviously
because you're competitive. I'm the same.
I've got white line fever, and
but if people took the time to like actually see you, I think they would see exactly what you just said. You're like, I mean, in this conversation alone, like your empathy has kind of filled up the room. Like it radiates. It's really cool. And I think that that's a really cool value that you uphold, that you're able to kind of function within throughout your everyday life. So I would say, I mean, like I've known you for a really long time, but I think that people that do take the time to see you would see exactly who you are. And I'm really grateful that you took the time to come on and talk about all of this stuff. I know that so many people listening will get so much out of this. And as if he hasn't said it enough, if you do see Angus around, just go up and have a conversation with him. He will always talk to you and always give you the time. And I'm grateful that you gave us the time today, because I mean, I learned more about you, and I've been so excited to have this conversation, because to understand the way that your brain works and the way you're still able to operate with such care for other people is actually insane when you think about it. Because, you know, people usually react to the stimulus of their environment and the way the world has treated them. It's so easy to be like, oh, these things have happened to me, and then you act a certain way because of it. But you embody like the other direction of that, like having things happen to you and just growing and becoming a bigger and better person. And just to add to the end, after every injury that Angus has had, he's gotten more athletic, which makes no sense. It makes no sense. Like actually, like I know I was talking about that dunk you had on Sykes, but some of the dunks you're throwing down now, man, like they crap all over those. Like I don't understand, how do you get more athletic with every injury? Like I don't know. I don't get it.
I don't get it either, but I'll take it.
Oh, it's the hamstring from your dad.
Yeah, well, he'll claim it.
Yeah. Sorry. I digress. Anyway, thank you so much for coming on, Angus. And really excited for people to listen to this one. That was Under the Surface. I'm Annalie Maley, and that was Angus Glover.